Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be recapping my makeup purchasing for July, August, and September of 2022. If you're not familiar, every quarter of this year I have been sitting down and just kind of chatting through what has made its way into my life, how I'm doing with my makeup purchasing goals, and kind of where my headspace is at as well. I just want to keep myself in check because in years past I definitely overconsumed makeup far beyond anything that made any sort of sense for my lifestyle, for my needs, even my preferences. I was bringing in makeup just for the sake of bringing in makeup all the time. And I really want to change that kind of habitual shopping that I used to have. I used to bring in new makeup products on a weekly basis. Sometimes every few days I was bringing in new things, and I'm really trying to shift that because I have far too much makeup because of that kind of lifestyle for sure. And also because I just don't want to be spending that much money, and I don't want to be creating that much waste in my own life as well. I want to be buying things, using them and enjoying them, and having really well thought out items coming into my life as well. I want to be hypercritical of what I keep, what I have. And so I'm just checking in on a quarterly basis to make sure that things are going all right. I kind of think that next year I would like to do this maybe every 2 months instead, because 3 months time to reflect on is kind of a long time to look back on. But why don't we just actually start off with the products that came into my life in the month of July? I ended up bringing in 3 items. I should clarify, I brought in 3 makeup items specifically because I am also tracking what my outstanding beauty categories look like. I'm just tracking what is coming into my life just out of curiosity, but I never considered those to be problem areas for me. When it comes to hair care, skin care, body care, those are things that I just kind of buy what I need. Sometimes I'll try a few new things here and there, but makeup definitely always was a problem area for me. So that is what I'm hyper focused on tracking and what we're going to be talking about today specifically. So in the month of July, I actually did not purchase any new makeup, which is so great. I'm really happy to say that. However, I did bring in a few items via kind of gift with purchases or point perks from Sephora. So these are all things that I did not spend money on, but I did bring them into my life. So the first one being a sample pack from Fenty Beauty. This is a 3-pack of the Fenty Icon Semi Matte Lipsticks. As you can see, these are blister packs and I have not opened them up yet. So I'm not familiar with this formula yet, but it was a sample that I added onto a purchase. I bought a sunscreen and I thought, why not? I'm actually very curious about this formulation, but I haven't had the kind of urgency to try them out yet because when it comes to using sample packs, even like these, they do take a little bit of commitment. And I'm just very focused on my project pan at the moment. I do have a few lip products that I'm focusing on, so I just haven't felt the need or desire to venture into these yet. However, these are something that I'm definitely interested in. I'm counting this as one product coming into my life right now. However, in my makeup inventory, this will be counted as 3 items because I have now a sample category in my makeup inventory. And so this would count as 3 different samples because if I used 1 or 2 of them up, I'd still like to see that kind of reflected in my inventory numbers. And then I ended up breaking 2 of my no-buy categories technically. If you're not familiar, I did post a kind of category specific no-buy that I wanted to uphold for the majority of the year, at least for the first few months of the year, but I just wanted to kind of continue working on not purchasing those categories because I didn't really see numbers change in my makeup collection. So I decided I was just going to continue not bringing those categories in. 2 of those categories are brows and the other one is cream blush. I've not brought anything else in the outstanding categories, which for reference, my no-buy categories were glowy primers, complexion as in foundation products, so tinted moisturizers and foundations, powder highlighter, brow products, lip liners, and cream blush. And yeah, as I said, I've brought in a product from cream blush and a product from the brow products category. So the brow products I brought in is just this itty bitty one. I believe that this was a gift with purchase. If not, it was a point perk or vice versa. It is the Kosas Air Brow Clear Lifting Treatment Gel, and it's just teeny tiny. How much is in here? 1.77 grams. So although I didn't want to bring anything new from this category into my life, it is something that I was kind of curious about, and in the moment, I will say it was impulsive. I decided to get this because it was free. I am wearing it today through my brows. I have my Dip Brow Pomade on underneath of it, and I quite like it. I think it's a really good brow gel. It does hold the brows very well in place. And overall, I'm not too disappointed that I decided to bring this into my life because it's so tiny. I know I will end up using it, but I've not finished any brow products for my collection this year, so my brow category is going up if I don't finish something sooner than later before the end of the year. So that is something that I want to keep in mind, is I want to use up something at least if this is coming in to replace it. The other product that I did bring in July is a cream blush. So I did break that no buy category as well. But this is just a teeny tiny item. This is the Rare Beauty cream blush in the shade Believe. This was either a gift with purchase, like with a code, or it was a point perk. Again, I don't remember. Either way, it was one of those freebies. And this was something that before I made the purchase, I kind of like left this in my cart for a little bit. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get it even though I don't need any cream blush. I am wearing it today and I think it's just a really beautiful tone. Really easy to wear formula, and this is itty bitty. I don't know how much is in here. It doesn't actually say on this package here, but it's tiny. There's not a ton of product in here, so it's not a massive commitment, but it is a great way for me to try out this formulation and to have a new cream blush in my life, just to have something new to play around with. So I'm not mad that I decided to get this, even though it technically was breaking a category in my no buy. I'm not actually upset whatsoever about either of these coming into my life. And I actually did not purchase any new makeup products in the month of August whatsoever. I did not receive any PR. I did not get any samples or free items or purchase anything for myself. So no new items came into my life in the month of August. I was just far too preoccupied with life stuff. Like, we were doing lots of things at the house. The budget was just not there. And honestly, the headspace, the brain capacity was just not there to bring anything new into my life and to think about what I wanted to purchase, because I was spending a lot of money on home things and I was spending a lot of time doing home things. I just didn't have the wherewithal, the capacity in any sort of way. So August came and went very, very quickly for me. And I was surprised when I look back to see that I didn't bring anything new into my life in the month of August. However, in the month of August, I did decide that I was not going to keep this product anymore. So in my last quarter, I talked about an item that I had recluttered into my life, which is this Colourpop No Filter Sticks in the shade Light 70W. I had found this kicking around in my house unused, and it was an item that I had previously decluttered. You can see it's pretty much new. I've twisted it all the way down. But in August, I decided I can't actually get use out of this, so I am going to be decluttering this and keeping it decluttered now. I tried it out a handful of times when I was at my most tan in August, and this shade, as you can see, is very yellow. It's very, very warm, and it just did not jive with my skin. I tried it under my eyes to kind of counteract the purple under my eyes, thinking the yellow might balance that out, but it just was far too abrupt, way too deep. And now that we're in October, I have significantly lost my tan. I am just going to continue to get more and more fair throughout the winter months. And it is a very small window of time when this could potentially work for me. And that is the thing, it only could possibly work for me. It's not something that I know for sure will work next summer. So I am actually going to be eliminating this. So I've just removed it from the products that came into my life. I have a spreadsheet of items that I'm bringing in throughout this year just to keep track, and I've decided to remove that from that spreadsheet. Now, going into the month of September, let's recap what that looked like. I was very fortunately added to the Colourpop affiliate program, which is something that I feel is really exciting. And I know that Colourpop is not for everyone, but Colourpop is a brand that really sparked my love of makeup. And yes, it may have sparked also my poor habits with makeup, but I am distant enough from that part of my life where I feel like I can have a very healthy relationship with a brand like Colourpop. They're a brand that still has a very special place in my heart. They're a brand that I took some time away from for a little while just because I was purchasing so little. I didn't purchase very much makeup at all in 2021, so I hadn't purchased any Colourpop at that time. And when the opportunity came up to be added to their affiliate program, I was like, oh my goodness, yes, of course. Because just speaking from my heart, it's a brand that has been so integral to my makeup journey, and it's something that I know past me would have been so overjoyed with the opportunity, and I am still very overjoyed, but I do have a very different mindset and a different relationship with Colourpop than I did in the past. And I do have a promo code with them. I do make commission off of that code, and to be transparent with you, I am only doing this trial for 2 months, so September and October. So when you're seeing this video, the affiliate code is still up. I'm not sure that moving forward it will be. It's kind of a matter of how my performance is. But I spent a long time going back and forth with the brand contact that I had, because one of the perks of being an affiliate, if you want to call it a perk, is getting every single collection that launches. And quite honestly, that is just not viable for me. That is not appropriate for me, and I know it's not appropriate for my audience either. So I had conversations with them, letting them know that I would love to, you know, try to drive traffic where it made sense on my channel and for me, but I don't have any need to be bringing in makeup every single week. And that was accepted by them. It was a discussion that we had that I felt really comfortable with, and I was really happy to see them being so receptive to that, because this is a brand that has a fast fashion kind of model, and so I know that my mindset is a little bit different than the Colourpop mindset, but they were very receptive to what I had discussed with them. And to kick off the affiliation, they did offer me that they could send a handful of products if I wanted, and there were some items that I have been very curious about to try from Colourpop. Like I said, I haven't purchased from Colourpop in such a long time, so I wanted to indulge and try out these items and share them with you as well. So I picked out 5 makeup products. I did also get 1 skincare product, but that doesn't count towards what we're really discussing today. And I feel like the 5 items that I selected are really things that I am very excited for, and they have very much purpose in my makeup collection. So the first one is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. I had heard so many great things about this product over the past few years, and I decided it was finally time to try it, seeing as I finished up my last 2 setting sprays in my collection. So this is my one and only setting spray that I have. So far, I do quite like it. It is definitely hydrating. It does leave the skin feeling very plump, and it looks very dewy. My only hold up, which is not even a bad thing necessarily, but the only thing that kind of caught me by surprise is that this actually smells like sunscreen to me. It has a very tropical kind of coconutty scent, and I don't know why I was not expecting that. I don't believe that I'd ever heard anyone else say that it had that. So that kind of caught me off guard, and it is something that the first few times I used it, I'd be like, what is that? But I've come to accept it, and I've noticed no issues at all with my skin through using it, even though it is very heavily fragranced. The fragrance does dissipate as well. And then I picked up another Pretty Fresh item. This is one that I haven't heard very many people talk about though, and it is the Pretty Fresh Pressed Face Powder. I have mine in the shade Light 6 here. I got Light 6 because I believe my tinted moisturizer, my tinted moisturizer is in the shade Light 6W, but this is a little bit deeper than I was expecting, but that's okay. I only have 1 tinted face powder at the moment, and it is this one because I used up 2 this year, so I felt like this was a really suitable item to bring into my life to kind of replace those. And I'm very happy so far with the performance of this. I actually quite enjoy it. I don't really feel like I'm too fussy about powders, but this is a pretty good powder. It does provide a little bit of extra coverage, but it also does lock in products very well. And overall, I'm really happy with it thus far, but I'm curious to see how it stands up to dry skin or more dry skin in the winter. Same with the setting spray. I'm really curious to see how they sit on my skin in more of the colder months. I also picked up a Super Shock shadow. I love the Super Shock shadows. And while I haven't bought many of these in the last few years by any means, I thought it was a really good opportunity to just bring in a nice neutral one that I can use all day, every day, pretty much. This is the shade 2014. This is what it looks like here. It's kind of like a warm beige base with a silver and golden kind of shift to it. I was wearing it in my most recent Project Pan update, and it's so pretty. It just acts as a gorgeous nude kind of eyeshadow on my skin tone, and that's something that I feel like I don't really have in my collection, weirdly enough. I have so many eyeshadows, but I felt like I was missing these like lighter toned neutrals that just offer a little bit of something to the eyes, but they're not an evidently like smoky kind of shadow. So I'm really happy that I decided to pick this shade up. And then I picked up two lip products. They're both kind of lip gloss type of formulas. And I selected both of these because they're formulas that I was curious about, but also because I tend to go through lip glosses quite quickly. They are an everyday staple for me, and so I felt like these are actually things that I could feasibly get good use out of. I was very selective with the items that came in through that PR package, and I feel like I was really critical, and I feel like, honestly, more than a month later, I'm really happy to say that I feel like I made the right decisions with all of these items. So the first one is the Colourpop So Juicy Plumping Lip Gloss in the shade Stuntin'. I'm wearing this today on top of a lip liner. This is a really nice, but it is definitely a thick, stickier kind of formulation. It really locks onto the lips though. I feel like it's one of the most long-lasting lip glosses that I have, and that's because it is a little bit thicker, a little bit more sticky. It does offer a little bit of a plumping kind of sensation, but I wouldn't say that it actually does plump the lips. It just has that very cooling menthol kind of feeling on the lips that can be quite refreshing in my opinion. I know it's not for everyone, plumping lip products, but I quite like that sensation. Makes me feel like my breath is a little bit fresher. It makes me feel like just refreshed, if that makes sense. This shade is really beautiful. It is reminiscent, although not exactly the same as, the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fenty Glow, the original shade. It's that kind of like muted rose tone. I think the Fenty Glow was much more brown versus this does have more of a kind of a coral base to it. But on my lips, I feel like it gives me very much the same feeling. And I really did like that lip gloss when I had it in my life many years ago. So it felt nice to kind of come back to that sort of tone, that sort of feeling, because I really did enjoy that product. But this does have like very, very fine kind of red, pink glitters and silver in it. But I don't know, on the lips, I think it just looks really juicy and healthy. And then the other lip product is the Luxe Lip Oil, and this is in the shade Hot Spark. This is a really beautiful product. I really am enjoying this formulation, but I would say it's not really what I had been expecting. There's a swatch of it right there, and on the back of my hand, it does look like it has some kind of orange pigmentation, but honestly on the lips, it just translates to being completely clear. It just looks like a very light gloss. It doesn't look like it has any sort of pigment to it whatsoever on the lips, because obviously my lips have more pigmentation than my skin does, like on the back of my hand. It more so just looks kind of like a lip balm, and it kind of functions like that. It kind of feels like that as well. It's not the most long-lasting formula, but it offers a really nice slip, a really nice bounce back to the light. It is quite glossy, and overall it's a very comfortable product. It just is not what I had been expecting. I sort of anticipated it to function a little bit more like a tinted lip oil that left a little bit of a stain behind, but it just doesn't leave any sort of pigment. And maybe that's just the color that I decided to pick up. I got this really light kind of neutral tone that I wanted to wear with everything and anything. So if I picked up something a little bit deeper, maybe it would offer that stain and that pigment a little bit more, but I don't think it's a bad product. It's just not what I had anticipated. Now I know that I said that they were very understanding and they were not going to be sending PR my way for every single release. However, the day that that package arrived, so did a Colourpop and Harry Potter collection, which I've already gifted to friends. It is no longer in my life. It came and went very, very quickly. And I sent an email and I just let them know, hey, I believe in error. I ended up receiving a PR box that I wasn't supposed to. Just wanted to let you know. And they said, thank you for letting me know. However, there already is another one on your way. Please do with it as you wish. If you want to donate it or give it to friends, feel free. And at the time, I was like, I'm going to just, donate it, find a friend that wants it, whatever. And then it arrived and I realized it was the Hocus Pocus collection, and I had to keep some of it. I'm not going to be keeping all of it. I have 4 products from the collection that I'm going to be gifting to friends. But I have 5 products from the collection that I'm keeping for myself, and I'm very happy with my decision to keep them because they just look so freaking cute. So I've decided to keep the BFF mascara in the shade Butcherson, which is a kind of plum burgundy toned mascara, and that is the color of it right there. I am familiar with the BFF formula because I had a purple mascara and a yellow mascara in the past. And so I know that it is a really nice formulation. I am wearing it today on both my upper and lower lashes, and I just feel like this purple is a really fun way to play with color in a very subtle way. So I wanted to keep this just to have it as like a fun kind of complement to have in my collection and to add to my repertoire. So I really am happy that I decided to keep that. And I did decide to keep all 3 of the lip glosses as well. I have not yet tried these, but these just look so fun. They definitely are bold, I feel like, but they look really fun, and I didn't really want to break up the set either. I know that sounds so sad, but there was like 2 that I was really interested in, and I thought, I can't break up the set. I'm just gonna keep them all. So I have the shade Sisters Behold, We're Young, and Boys Will Love Me, and this is what they all look like. So Sisters Behold is a really sparkly clear gloss. It has tons and tons of glitter throughout it. It looks so fun. I think that's gonna make a great lip topper. And then the next shade is We're Young, which is this orange that also has a ton of shimmer running throughout it. It just looks so beautiful. I think this is gonna be a really great summer lip gloss, and I know the Hocus Pocus collection will be old news by, Christmas time and moving into 2023, but I'm excited to play with both of those into the next year and years to come. And then the last shade is called Boys Will Love Me, and this is the one I was not really sure to keep, but I'm going to try it out. This is a kind of blackened base with purple and blue and green shimmers running throughout it, so it definitely is quite bold, but I think it will be all right. Actually, you know what? I'm going to swatch it. I haven't even cracked it yet. So I can already tell on the doe foot, like it's not coming up near as pigmented as it looks like it is in the tube, but here's a swatch of it. Oh, yeah, look, it like completely sheared out. So I think that's gonna be something that I can easily get a lot of use out of, whether I'm layering it with other lip products or just wearing it on its own. Honestly, it does not look near as intimidating as it does in the tube. So that's good. I love lip gloss, so I'm not mad at it at all. And then lastly, I did decide to keep the palette, which is the All Hallows Eve Pressed Powder Eye Palette. I'm wearing this on my eyes today. I do have just one other shadow in my inner corner, but for the most part, I'm only wearing this eyeshadow palette today, and it's just so fun. I really did enjoy playing with this and trying this out for the very first time today, but I am looking forward most definitely to trying out the greens and the oranges. Today I was definitely more in this cool tone zone, but I just think that this is a really beautiful color story, and I just feel like this screams Halloween to me. It is very, very seasonally appropriate in my opinion, although it's not something I necessarily would have picked up on my own, and it's not necessarily something that I anticipated was going to come into my life. I'm actually really happy to have this. This is the second eyeshadow palette that I've brought into my life in all of 2022. And it's probably going to be the only other one that I bring in. I don't think I'll bring any more eyeshadow palettes into my life this year. And so I'm really happy to have this because I feel like this color selection is really nice and super inspiring. I'm actually really excited about this. And yeah, so five products from that collection ended up coming to my life. And yeah, That's a lot more than I had anticipated. And I did end up purchasing one item for myself in the month of September. So I had 10 items come into my life that were PR last month. And then I purchased this for myself. This is the Flower Beauty Forever Wear Winged Liner. And it's in the shade All Nighter, which is the black shade. This is a really pigmented black eyeliner. It's a felt tip, and I just felt like it was something that I needed to kind of have in my repertoire. I ended up using up my winged liner, my liquid liner that I had last month, and so I replaced it with this, and I'm really happy to have done so. This is so far so good. I've worn it a handful of times and quite enjoyed it, and I think it's gonna be a really good staple product for me to have in my life. I don't have another black liquid liner, so it just makes sense for me to have one in the rotation for whenever it's needed. So that was a lot. That was a lot to recap. That was a lot of products to talk about. Altogether, I brought in 14 products in this last quarter, which is definitely the highest amount that I've brought in through the rest of the year for sure. And I do partially want to say it is because of that unexpected PR, but I have every right to just not keep it. And I decided to keep it because it's things that they are things I felt very compelled by, very interested in. So I decided to keep them. So I'm not mad at it whatsoever. I did end up finishing 12 products this past quarter. And one of my goals this year is to bring in less products than I'm actually able to use up. That way I can actually see my makeup collection go down. And I really want to track that because I'm genuinely curious, like how much can I use up and how does that affect what ends up coming into my life? So I'm just trying to be a little bit more of a mindful consumer in that way. So let's talk about what those numbers are looking like. I haven't done this in all of my other updates, but it is something that I had been very curious about. So all together this year, I have used up so far 33 makeup items, and I've brought in a collective 29 products. So I'm pretty close to on par. I would like to see that number a little bit smaller in terms of what I brought in. I would like to see that maybe more so around the 25 mark, but taking in that PR from Colourpop, I think is really what amped up and like beefed up that number, which is totally fine. I also wrote down a list of what I believe I can actually finish in this next quarter so that I'm kind of anticipating how much can and should come into my life, I suppose. So I think in this next quarter, I have 8 products that I will be able to finish up by the end of this year, which would bring me to a total of 41 makeup products getting used up. So that means that I can bring in like maybe 12 more products into my life if I so choose. However, I don't really foresee myself bringing in 12 more products to my life. I don't really foresee myself bringing in that many more in this next quarter. Of course, things can change. My needs might change if something goes bad or I use something up or whatever. It's possible that I may want to bring more into my life, but I just don't foresee it being 12 more items. So I feel like I will be able to achieve that goal by the end of the year of bringing in fewer items than I actually finish up. I also feel like for the most part, I will be able to keep on track with my no buy categories. I did break it for those 2 little mini sizes, but I don't know. I really don't feel like it was a bad thing that I decided to bring those into my life. Like I'm not feeling guilty or anything like that or upset with myself because they're just minis. And one of my other goals for this year is to just kind of keep track of what is coming into my life that's not makeup. So all of my other beauty categories, just keeping an eye on those things, kind of monitoring where I'm at. So I will share those on the screen with you so you can see what I brought in July, August, and in September. Nothing feels excessive in my opinion. Nothing feels like I am over consuming. I actually feel like I'm very, very happy with where my collection is at for my makeup collection, as well as where my non-makeup collection kind of purchasing habits are at. I feel like everything is pretty in check actually. And while I did bring in more products this quarter for makeup, I still feel really happy with where I'm at for the year. I actually feel like when it comes to bringing in and tracking PR as well as my own purchases and samples, 29 collective products for all of those categories is really not that excessive. It's really, really not that bad. And I foresee myself bringing in fewer than 10 products in the next quarter. and using up at least 8 in the next quarter. So I really feel like overall I'm really happy with where I'm at. And I think this next quarter will be challenging given the fact that we are going into the holiday season. So some limited edition releases will be coming out. I definitely have a little bit more time and headspace to be sitting down and like perusing things like Sephora. Although I just feel like I've kind of lost that habit a little bit in my life, but the temptation I do think will be there more than it has been through the summer months for sure. So this last quarter, I definitely feel like I just didn't have the headspace, but going into the winter time, I do think that the temptation will definitely be there. Sales, new launches, just more time sitting inside because it's cold as heck. I do think that I will be able to remain successful with all of my goals, and I'm really curious to see how this year wraps up. I'm feeling very good about it, very positive about it. And yeah, I'm definitely feeling like I'm in a little bit of a better kind of relationship with makeup than I have been in the past. Really happy that I decided to do my low buy last year because it really did shift my mentality. And I've taken that mentality into this year. And I really do feel like I have a much better relationship with makeup and a lot of a better grasp on my purchasing as well. But I'm rambling at this point as per the usual. And if you made it this far, congratulations. Thank you so much for sticking it out and for hanging out with me. It means so much more to me than you'll ever know, but that is everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.